Hey guys, my name is Patrick Lyons, and because today is my birthday, I am officially a 26-year-old virgin. I know it's a really weird way to start a video, but that's my honest truth, and I want to talk a little bit more about why I am a virgin and some of the common questions that I get about that. Now, I want to address first, I did make a video very similar to this a little over 6 months ago, saying that I'm a 25-year-old virgin. The idea of this is not to just constantly make videos year after year after year saying I'm a virgin indefinitely. That's not my plan. I'll get more into that later. I just wanted to kind of give an update on this because the last video has gotten hundreds of comments that have led to a lot of really great discussion, and I want to get a little bit deeper into this topic. Now, first and foremost, you're probably wondering, Patrick, how on earth are you a virgin? You have a baby changing table behind you. How did you make a baby? I didn't make a baby. That's for my nephews. Anyways, now that that's aside, the reason that I'm a virgin, first and foremost, is because of my faith. I was born and raised Christian, specifically Catholic, and I believe that marriage is something that is reserved for the confines of marriage. It's something very, very special that is meant to be shared with one person. That is just something that I believed like my entire life, and as I've gone further and further into adulthood, I've really realized like just how much I believe that. And I just think it's such an exciting, amazing, beautiful thing that God has given us the ability to do, and I look forward to sharing that with my future wife. Now, the thing that I want to acknowledge here is that there is a large proportion of people who right now and in the future will not be virgins that I will come across in my life. And whether now or in the future, that isn't something that I judge people for. I have this very firm belief that we are not to judge others, that God is the ultimate judge, and that's not something that I ever really plan on trying to do. It's like humans are meant to be the judge, so we shouldn't. And so that's all to say that this video is not about me like bashing other people who don't share the exact same lifestyle or beliefs that I do. And what it also means is that when I am like looking for my own partner, future wife, that is not something that is a requirement. And what I mean is that I don't expect that the person I meet will also be a virgin. It would be awesome, and I would absolutely love that. Obviously, like it's something that matters a lot to me. It's something that I am holding near and dear to my heart that I plan to, carry with me until the day I get married. And it would be awesome to have someone who did that too. But if not, that's okay. The thing for me is that with me being a virgin, looking for a partner, someone to date and then eventually marry, it's more so that I need to find someone who is also willing to wait. Meaning that like they could have not waited in previous relationships, but as long as they're with me, it's just like it has to be a mutual understanding that like, yeah, we're both going to wait until marriage. We are sharing this with each other, this belief in waiting. And this gets into the idea of what I would call born-again virginity. It's the idea that virginity is a social construct. It's not like a definite thing that either has or hasn't happened. And so at any given moment, anyone could become a born-again virgin. And so effectively, whoever I date and eventually marry, it would be that, or they would actually be a virgin, one of the two. So just want to get that out of the way because I've seen a lot of comments on my previous video a little over 6 months ago saying that, like, how could you, date someone who has had sex before? And it's just like, that's not the way that I'm looking at it because, again, I don't believe in judging, and so I'm not going to judge someone for their past. I can't change the past. They can't either. No one should be judging them for that. It's more so about who are they today and who are they willing to be with you to share that special bond later once marriage comes. So I wanted to get that out of the way first. The second thing is very commonly people ask, like, do you have the temptations, or like have you ever had like someone try to get you to break your virginity? And the answer to both of those questions is absolutely yes. Like, I think that as humans with natural desires, that is just a thing that will happen. Like, you absolutely will have temptations where, like, you have these lustful thoughts that you, as someone who is committing to virginity until marriage, just have to resist those temptations. And I know that that's not necessarily an easy thing, but it's this sort of thing where I absolutely believe it is worth it. Like, again, I'm so excited to share it with that person who I end up marrying in the future, and that makes waiting in this moment worth it. I will also acknowledge that because I have never had sex, that means that it is a lot easier for me to continue not having sex than probably someone who has already done it. Meaning that like, it's kind of like that concept of like if you were drunk and then you pee, it's a lot easier to keep peeing. It's a lot harder to not pee after that because you've like broken the seal. That was the term I was looking for, broken the seal. I haven't broken the seal in that way, so like I don't know what I'm missing out on, so that makes it easier. I'm just acknowledging that to say that like if you have done it, I assume it will be harder for you to stop, but that doesn't mean that it is impossible. It's an action that you choose in any given moment, in any given iteration of the act to do. So it's just like, again, you have that free will to choose not to and then, you know, to be a born again virgin, essentially. So that's that first thing, is that like I definitely do have the temptation, or like the lustful desire is there occasionally. And then there definitely also have been people who have, you know, effectively tried to get me to not be a virgin anymore. And what I mean by that is, you know, people who have gone on dates with, like, expect or want that to happen. And then it's just kind of up to me as the person deciding the lifestyle that I've chosen to live to wait until marriage, that like I'm just like in that moment I say no. Because whenever you are with someone in like a romantic context, you absolutely have, you know, it has to be mutual consent. And so if I, as the virgin, am not willing to do it, then I just say no, and both parties have to agree. That's just the way it has to work. And there's only been probably one situation where the other person, the person on the other side of that conversation, was like actively upset to the point of trying to continue pushing on it. As in like, they weren't wanting to take no for an answer. And I will say like that was a very awkward, strange thing to have to deal with. And it definitely made me uncomfortable. And I made it very clear to the person like how not okay that was. But that can be a real situation. But I emphasize that only happened one time ever. There were many other situations where as soon as I brought that up, they respected it, and that's just, again, there wasn't consent on my part, so they weren't going to move forward with it. That said, I will also say that just to like set your own expectations, if you haven't ever been in that situation and you want to know what is that like to be in that position, it's often very surprising for other people. Like in today's day and age, unfortunately, the vast majority of people are willing to have sex and expect that others are too. And so when someone then says no, it's almost like this shock moment where it's like completely unexpected. And I will add a layer to that and acknowledge that because of the fact that like I am in the fitness industry and I work very diligently to build, you know, the best physique possible, that like there is an association between having an aesthetic or a great body and people assuming that you are someone who, you know, are actively pursuing or seeking sex. And so that's obviously not the case for me. I am not seeking that. And so when I'm in that moment, it adds just like another layer of like shock value where people just are not expecting it. It can catch them off guard. And the truth is, there are some people who they hear that and they are shocked, and then they're like, but you know what, that's fine, I completely respect it, and I am okay with it. I would love to keep dating you, or whatever the case. But then there's also the other half of people who are, they hear that, they're shocked, and they are not okay with it, and they're like, I can't deal with that. Like, I need to be with someone who's going to have sex. I'm like, obviously, then I'm out. Like, that's just the way it is. I will say that like those can be some really disappointing moments, because you can share a heck of a lot of bond with someone and have like, you know, mutual interest and get along with each other and have fun with someone. But like, if that isn't something that someone is willing to accommodate, then it just can't work. And again, like that can be really sad. And it's like, you know, you finally find that person who you feel like you're vibing with, you're getting along with, and then they're not willing to, you know, kind of go along with the lifestyle that you have. And as much as I wish that wasn't the case, it is sometimes. And you just have to move on and know that wasn't the right person. It wasn't the person that God had intended for you. So that's just something to acknowledge there. And the other element that I want to get into about this concept of like lust and temptation is what I've found through my own experiences is that the single biggest source of lust in my life was dating apps. I was on dating apps for years, and it got to the point where like I was spending probably an hour or more per day on the apps. Like I was on all of them. I was just swiping, and it definitely was like an objectification of women to some degree. It's like whether you're a woman using the app or a man using the app, to some degree, using apps at all is an objectification of whichever sex you are swiping on. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the way that felt, because it's like, obviously when you meet someone in person, you get to know every part of them, and that can be such a beautiful, exciting thing, because you can not only see if you have interest, but you can see like, what is their personality like? How do I vibe with them in person? It's so much different than on the apps. And I just found that I was so much more prone to having lustful thoughts when I was using the apps, especially when I was using them excessively to that hour or more per day, to where like, conversations might go directions on apps that they would never go if they were happening in person. And so I've been off the apps for like more than 2.5 months now. And I have to say that it has been the most freeing thing that I have ever done for myself. Like I don't have those lustful thoughts anymore. There isn't the temptation, and it literally makes it effortless to not have the temptation, because you have effectively eliminated all of the source of that temptation. At least that's the way it was for me. I went so far as to like delete every single message that I ever exchanged with someone from those apps in that, temptation or lust-filled context. Deleted the numbers, the contacts, the messages. I didn't just delete the apps, I deleted my profiles in the app so that I can't go back to them. And I emphasize all that to say that if you find yourself having lustful thoughts, I ask you first and foremost, are you on the apps? Because for me, that was the biggest source of it. And it just, oh my gosh, it made it so easy again not to. It was so freeing, and it definitely felt like the right thing for me to do, because it's like, especially given that the apps were in large part created, I know there are exceptions, given that apps have different purposes, but the root of at least the first couple was, like hookup culture. And so it's just like the people you meet on there, it is much more difficult, much more rare to find someone who is the right fit for you, who is also going to wait until marriage. So that was a huge takeaway. And the other thing that did is it forced me to reflect on like, what are the ways that I like to meet people? And I realized just how much I love meeting people in the context of like friends of friends, where I'm hanging out with a friend or two and we're getting together in a group context. So they bring a friend or two, and then you meet their friend or two, and then it just kind of keeps propelling from there. And then the more and more you do that, you find yourself naturally meeting people who are friends of friends, and you are so much more likely to share something in common with the people who are friends with people you're already friends with. Because one, they're not like weird or have red flags, or they hopefully don't. And two, that you have at least some degree of like mutual interests, because you shared that commonality of friendship with that other person or people. And so over the last several months, I found myself meeting so many more people through friends of friends that, again, share things in common with me, do things that I like to do, and are just the type of people that I love to be around. And so I haven't like met the one yet or something, or maybe I haven't, I just don't know it yet. But what I'm getting at is that I know that I'm creating the opportunity in the right way now, because I just find myself having so much more joy in the friendships and the relationships that I have through this in-person experience, which is, again, I just think the way it's meant to be. Again, this isn't to just completely put down people for using apps. I used them for years. I feel so much better now that I'm not on them, and now that I'm intentionally going out and doing things with other people. I've talked with people about this exact scenario before, and then they'll say, well, like, how do you meet people? And one, again, I think if you start with just hanging out with the people you normally hang out with and like get together in mutual friend settings, that can work really well. But the other thing is go to places and do things that you love and enjoy, and just naturally meet people through that environment. I totally get that some people are more on the introverted side, and that can be difficult, but still, like, if you are finding yourself in a setting where you're doing something you love, you are so much more likely to find someone who you vibe with on another level than if you weren't putting yourself out there. I know it can be uncomfortable, but you will almost never regret the people you did talk to. You'll always regret the people you chose not to, because you were afraid or scared or didn't want to get out of your comfort zone. I encourage you to seek discomfort in meeting those people in the context that you find yourself going to. Another thing that I'll add is that after I got off the apps, I think since then, in the last like 2.5 months, I've planned like 4 or 5 new trips, like trips either within America or outside of America with friends, going to do things that I know I'm going to meet more people doing. And the reason why like I can't help but smile about that is because like I'm just so excited about it. And it's like, maybe I would have done some of these things without getting off of the apps, but again, it just freed up so much time and mental space that I'm actively seeking those opportunities to meet new people, giving myself all these chances to find people who share a love for the things that I love, like traveling and active living and music festivals and all that sort of thing. So that is that. And I know that like I started this video talking about the fact that I'm a virgin, and the reason why I went in that direction is because I think that there's definitely this misconception about like the type of person that a virgin is. Obviously, I already break that stereotype of like being the person who is, really pursuing the best physical shape possible, and still like remaining a virgin until marriage. But also like you can still be someone who has a lot of fun with traveling and doing things. It's not like all virgins are like that stereotypical nerd type person. And even if you are, all the power to you. Like there is no shame in that. I have been and still am that nerd. But nerds break stereotypes too. You can still be cool and do a lot of dope things in life and meet other people along the way while you're doing that. Those are the answers to a lot of the questions that I get. And then I think another thing that I've seen a lot in the comments of the 25-year-old virgin video that I did were things related to people who were significantly older than me still waiting until marriage, or people younger than me saying that they were not only a virgin now but plan to be for the rest of their life. And the thing that I want to address is that there is no perfect time across the board for people to like get married. Like you could get married at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You could get married in your 30s and your 40s. Like it doesn't matter. No matter what that age is, the message still holds. Like the sanctity of virginity until marriage still remains. It is still equally special and beautiful to wait until marriage to have sex for the first time, or to stop having sex now and wait until you find that person that you're going to share the rest of your life with, and then begin the non-virgin lifestyle with that person. So I just want you to know that like there is no right speed or pace for this to happen, and it is totally okay no matter what your age is. But I will also say, like, don't be afraid. Like if you are a virgin, don't feel like you aren't going to find that person. Again, if you are putting yourself out there and doing the things that you love and meeting people while doing it, time will run its natural course, and you will meet people and you will find that person who you were meant to be with. And I am saying this as someone who hasn't found that person. I just know with absolute certainty that that person is out there for me. God has put that person on this earth that is meant to be with me, that I am meant to be with. And I can't wait to meet that person. Or again, maybe I already have, and share the rest of my life with that person. So just don't give out hope on that. There is still plenty of time. So I know I've been talking for quite a long time now, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has like watched my previous video and now watched this one. Like the support that I got meant the world to me, because this is obviously a vulnerable topic. It can be taboo for a lot of people, and I was scared to talk about this publicly for a really long time, and I realized that there is no harm that comes from me putting this video out there. This is just me sharing my truth and sharing like what my lifestyle is and will be, and the number of conversations that started because of it just meant so much to me and was really, really cool to see. And like I want to keep having this dialogue and this conversation and let us all know that like we are not alone in this journey, and that we are going on a journey for God, through God. And not to mention we're at least not going to have babies until marriage, and that helps make life a little bit easier. Again, I'm not hating on anyone who has babies before marriage. I'm not a judgmental person. I'm just saying that like life can certainly be difficult once you have children. You have some restrictions on freedoms and things like that. And I await the day when that happens for me as a parent, but at the very least I can live that single free life right now and then eventually settle down with that special someone. But again, just thank you so much for all the support. It has meant the world to me. Let's keep this dialogue going. If you have any questions about my story, or if you have questions about your own situation, struggles, story, please comment them below. I would love to talk with you more and hopefully keep the conversation going. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time.